Michael Popok, Legal AF. If you thought President Donald Trump was corrupt before, wait till you see what he's going to do with Truth Social Media and his new relationship with a streaming service that's based in Slovenia that also provides technology to China and the Arab world. It's all a connection between a major donor to the Republican National Committee and to Donald Trump, who's benefited in the tens of millions of dollars from Donald Trump being president through tax breaks, through having contracts awarded to his defense contractor, and to a company that he has a large ownership stake in called Genesis Energy out of Houston. His name, James Davidson. He's in his 80s. He's sort of a sketchy cat, and he's been exposed in the ProPublica piece that's just come out. And it just shows you that if you thought Donald Trump had a conflict of interest and was making money and violating the emoluments clause of the U.S. Constitution when he was in office the last time with his family, where they made hundreds of millions of dollars on the back of Donald Trump being president. And if he didn't make it, then Ivanka made it, then Jared Kushner made it. Wait till you see what he's going to do with Truth Social, which didn't even exist back in 2016, and how he's going to have a conflict of interest related to that. Let's just take James Davidson, outlined in the ProPublica piece, as a shining example. James Davidson lobbied Donald Trump and his White House back in 2016 and 2017, and he was awarded a $17 million contract to one of his companies as a result. He donated tens of millions of dollars to the Republican causes. He gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to Donald Trump's last presidential campaign, and now buried in public filings by Truth Social that were required by the Securities and Exchange Commission, that were ferreted out by a review by ProPublica, you have the reference to a new acquisition by the Trump media company of a streaming service platform and technology to basically have Trump TV. And the company that's listed there is Jed Tech, J-E-D Tech, out of a small town in Louisiana. But ProPublica traced it right back to James Davidson, who owns it, who's friendly with somebody on the board of the Trump Media Group. And Jed Tech, along with a company that is based in England and a technology company that's actually providing the technology, right? This whole Trump TV is going to be powered by a Slovenian company, right? That is providing the technology, who also provided the technology to China and to some countries in the Arab world. Right? That's what you have. So you've got Slovenia, you've got the British company, but it's all coming through Jet Tech, which has the relationship with Donald Trump. A company that if Donald Trump were somehow restored to power, James Davidson, his company Jet Tech, and others will be benefited. There's expiring Trump tax cuts that, of course, Trump will reimpose that will benefit somebody like James Davidson. And how do you curry favor with somebody you think or you're betting on becoming president again? You invest and get into bed with him in a relationship with his media company. Now it's over $100 million transaction in which $170 million transaction in which the Trump group will buy Jed Tech and this technology to use for the streaming service, but mainly paying for it in equity in Trump media. So now you've got everybody's in bed together. And Donald Trump just says, I'm going to follow ethical guidelines, right? Like he did last time, where his family made over $100 million in a kleptocracy in broad daylight. And so the question that is now almost impossible to answer is how are people going to try to buy Donald Trump and influence him by investing in Trump media, in Trump social? I mean, that's the real question. Look, at the end of the day, I'm a little bit wary of the Slovenian connection. Think about this. Out of all the countries that are providing TV streaming service, they had to use a home country for the former First Lady, Melania, now Trump. She's Slovenian. I mean, as soon as I saw Slovenia streaming service, I'm like, which relative or friend possibly or connection to Melania Trump is involved with this purchase? And how sketchy and bad smelling is this? With the front being the small company owned by James Davison out of out of Louisiana, called JedTech, but which really masquerades or masks the fact that Jed Davison makes all of his money through his ownership stake in Genesis Energy out of Houston, because Genesis Energy bought Jed Davison's trucking company for $560 million, putting him and his son on the board and getting a huge equity stake. And when you think pipelines and you think mining, think Donald Trump's oil, gas, and energy policies being corrupted and warped to benefit people like James Davison. Not you and me, not Main Street, not even Wall Street, but the secret, nefarious world of rich people in MAGA red states that are trying to benefit themselves and buy a presidency basically in broad daylight. What kind of night is it? Is it a single? Double? A triple? I'm not talking about alcohol. I'm talking about Sol's out-of-office microdose THC gummies in 3 strengths, plus no hangover. Out-of-office gummies come in 1.5 milligram, 3 milligram, and 6 milligram doses, and 3 delicious flavors. We love them for clearing your inbox, winding down after work, or listening to your favorite podcast like Legal AF, or heading out to a party. Raise your gummies, not your glasses. This podcast is sponsored by Sol. Sol's new out-of-office gummies are perfectly microdosed with hemp-derived THC and CBD to give any day that chillin' on the beach vibe. Did you know you can now buy hemp-derived THC products in all 50 states? So how can Sol send you THC products no matter where in the U.S. you live? Because of the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp-derived THC is now legal and accessible nationwide. Out-of-office gummies gives you that warm, fuzzy, euphoric microdose feeling without sending you to the moon. The Sol team suggests you start by eating half to 1 gummy, then wait 45 minutes to 1 hour to start feeling the effects. Micro doses of THC keep me feeling good without the anxious thoughts. And that's not all Sol's got. Whether you're looking for a sleep aid, enhanced focus, or pain relief, Sol has all your wellness needs covered. So give Sol a try. Head to getsol.com and use code LegalAF for 30% off your order. That's 30% off your order using code LegalAF. One last time, getsol.com and code LegalAF for 30% off. That is really what we're watching with the ProPublica investigative reporting that we're relying on here. And then, my own speculation about why Slovenia. First of all, if you were to stop the average tech entrepreneur on the street, right, and ask them, name me the top 10 places for streaming TV service technology, I would bet you a lot that Slovenia is not going to be in the top 10. And the only connection I can think of between Donald Trump and that country is his wife, who happens to have come from that country. So it's getting really disgusting at how overtly criminal and unethical Donald Trump's approach to his business world colliding with his power base as the president of the United States. Don't we want people that see being the president of the United States as an honor, right? As a civic duty, as the ultimate expression of patriotism, not as the ultimate grift, not as the best way to line their pockets, right? That's dictatorships. Every dictator known to man, in power or out of power, has billions of dollars that should have went to the people of their country stashed away somewhere. Billions and billions of dollars. Donald Trump taking a page out of all those people he admires in North Korea, right? In Bulgaria, in China, in Russia, is doing the same thing. He formed a company as a vehicle, Trump social media, Truth Social, as a vehicle to solicit investments of people that want to curry favor with Donald Trump, just as he did when he opened the old post office as a hotel near the White House and forced and compelled people to stay there, do events there, and put money into his pocket. That's why people stayed there, because they wanted to be able to tell him in a meeting, I'm staying at your hotel, thinking that would curry favor and they would get a benefit policy passed for themselves, or tax break, or tax benefit, or law, and it did. We're just watching it again, except instead of the Trump Organization and hotel development, since Donald Trump figured out we're on to that one, he's moved on to the other one, the nefarious world of social media platforms and buried transactions on securities filings involving his donors, people that see him as their patron, to try to get their own future tax breaks and public money sent their way. All over again. It's all we're watching. And that's what ProPublica has done so well. We're going to continue to follow how Donald Trump has using basically a shell company that has no real assets, generating no real revenue, yet has a tremendous access to capital because of the sucker bet of people investing in the company. After Butler, Pennsylvania, the stock price went up. I would have thought the stock price would have went down. It would have showed you that the company is based on somebody who's just had a near-death experience. Normally, that leads to stock dropping. It only went up because of the nature of the investor for Donald Trump. And so he's using all of this cash that's not tied to any real business economics to go out and get into business relationships with people who will then come back to him and his administration, if he ever gets anywhere near the White House, to try to get more money out of the government and out of taxpayer dollars. That's all we're watching. I thank ProPublica for making it public today, and we'll continue to follow it on Legal AF, where we sit at the intersection of law and politics, only on the MeidasTouch network. Please subscribe, help them get to 3 million. We're getting close. Before the November election, we're building this network with our bare hands and your support with no outside investors. If you like what I'm doing, I try to be on the network, about every hour, every day. On hot takes like this one, leave me a comment and give me a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithms, keeps us all on the air. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, which is Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time on this YouTube channel, and then everywhere you get your podcasts from, audio podcasts from, under Legal AF. This is Michael Popok reporting. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.